Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. In a previous video I showed how I'd brought the first level of foam on my baseboards up to 40mm, but had encountered a problem where the foam overhanging part of a smaller baseboard would be too thin to support the weight on top of it. In this video I'm going to show how I prepared the area in question in readiness to stabilise any overhanging foam to make it strong enough to bear the weight it needed to carry. Up until now, I'd been using this area of the baseboard as a shelf, so the first job was to remove the layer of stuff that had been put on top of it, and the only place to put it was on top of my new test track. Isn't it always the case that as you manage to create some space, especially a flat surface, that within days of creating it, it's almost always inevitably filled up with all manner of odds and ends again? Anyway, now that my working area was clear, I could now get on and remove the original top layer of foam that was overhanging the baseboard. This was actually a nice thick piece that wouldn't have had any problem supporting itself, but as my plans had changed and would require a much thinner piece of foam at this position, it needed to be removed. Once gone, it revealed my DCC controller and Wi-Fi throttle that were attached to the front of the baseboard. These also needed to be removed, as I intended to extend the baseboard at the front by attaching a piece of plywood, using some metal brackets. I removed the throttle, controller and screws and stored the DCC bus wire where it would be safe. Next, I noticed a couple of very thin channels in the existing foam base between some adjacent foam tiles. After the shenanigans I'd had with disappearing dropper wires that I had explained in a previous video, I decided that it would be best to fill these channels in. To do this, I prepared a selection of foam shims in varying thicknesses. This was achieved by shaving foam from an offcut piece of foam using my utility knife. I didn't bother measuring the gaps, as it would be all but impossible to cut a shim to the exact size required, as they were so thin and lacked uniformity. Next I picked out a shim that was about the right size and offered it up to one of the gaps to test fit it. It was a bit too big, so I used an emery board to reduce its thickness. I kept repeating the process of testing and sanding until the shim was a nice tight fit in the channel. I used a small box to check that the shim didn't stand proud of the surface, and if it did, use the emery board again to level it off. I followed the same process to fill in the second channel, which was much thinner, and in that case I needed to use 3 shims of differing thicknesses until the channel was filled. I had hoped to have got the plywood extension fitted during this video cycle, but real life has got in the way, unfortunately, so I've had to split the video into 2 parts. With any luck, I'll have completed the job by next week, and I'll post part 2 of the video. Okay, so that's about it for this short update, and just leaves me to say, if you have any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a beginner in Engage modelling, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comments section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully I'll have another update on my progress soon. Bye.